Going on right here. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? It's wonderful to see you. I hope you don't mind me starting off with a little bit of celebration music, but I don't know about you, but 300,000 extra dollars sounds like a celebration to me, right, everybody? Yes, excellent, excellent. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you don't mind me being a little cheesy and starting off with a little music. When I told my husband I was going to do that, he's like a senior marketing person, and he's like, "You're really going to start off with some Cool in the Gang?" I'm like, "Yes, I am. I am going to start off with some Cool in the Gang." So let's go ahead. I know we've got some new people that are with us today, so I want to make sure that we can start off with some introductions. Let me go ahead. I will also get our agenda in the chat if anybody didn't get it today. That way you can access it. I will start off. My name is Renee Marshall, and I am the proud kind of facilitator of our team. It's so wonderful to work with Yadira over at El Camino College and to be the lead college of this project that we're working on right now in teacher preparation in our region. And just so thrilled to be here, and how exciting to be the recipient of some unspent funds, everybody. So thrilled that everybody's here today. Who would like to start us off and do the next intro?
I can go. I'm Kelly Miller from LA City College. I'm the department chair in child development faculty.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for being here today. We are thrilled that we're all going to be working together. Who would like to go next? Awesome. Go for it, Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Manson with Santa Monica College.
And Laura has a position like right now in ECE/EDU. I put it on the bottom of the agenda, everybody. Blast it out far and wide. I know somebody who's on right this minute who's going to be going out for it.
Oh, yeah, don't tell me, but yeah.
I know, I'm not saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. But we also want to make sure we're inclusive and spreading the word and getting as many really solid candidates. And Laura, I'm happy to say too, Mission has an ECE position as well. So we put both on the bottom of the agenda.
Okay.
Isn't it beautiful to be hiring?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
excellent,
Good
excellent.
time. Thank you.
Laura, thrilled that you're here today. Who else would like to go next?
I can go.
Absolutely.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Rokia Rahman, and I'm from ELA. I'm an associate professor, and also I'm representing Amanda. She won't be able to join today.
Rokia, thank you so much for stepping in. Amanda shot me a message that she's not feeling well, and that's really great of you to be willing to like step in, especially on a Friday morning, right before we're getting to break soon. And I know everybody's in the heat of like finals and grading, and I was a professor for 12 years. So thank you for taking your time and investing in what we're doing and for being present and being here today. We appreciate you. Okay, maybe our birthday girl should go next. Her birthday was yesterday, but still, Miss Megan Kaplinsky, happy birthday. Would you introduce yourself to everybody, please?
Thank you. Megan Kaplinsky. I get to teach education classes and service department head at Long Beach City College.
Excellent. One of the things I love about Megan, I love a lot about Megan, but one of the things I love is anytime she comes into a space, when she introduces herself, she always says, "I get to teach," or "I get the opportunity." And I love, I work with Joint Special Populations as one of my contracts, and we spend a lot of time talking about inclusive language and how do we have language and how that language impacts people. So I think about like if I was your student and you introduced in a space and you said, "I get to teach," I would my heart would be swelling. And so thank you, Megan, for how you, just your professionalism and who you are. I'm watching you all the time because I learn from you all the time.
Thank you. That's very sweet. It makes my day.
Who would like to go next? Excellent.
Good morning. I work with Miss Kelly Miller at Los Angeles City College, but more on the workforce development with Dr. Rivera. So excited to be here and learn.
Excellent. Karen, I wanted to check. Do you go by Karen or Karen Lynn?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Either way is okay?
Either way is okay. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Welcome, Karen. We're thrilled that you're here today. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next if you can hear me.
We can totally hear you, Marini.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. I'm running errands, so I have to call in. Sorry about that. My name is Marianne Smith, and I teach education. I get to teach education and child development at West Los Angeles College, and I'm the Title V STEM Teacher Prep Coordinator. Good to be here, everybody.
Glad you're here today, Marini. It's great to see you. or to see the beautiful picture of you.
Thank you.
Who would like to go next today?
I'll go.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Bodecker from Pierce College, full-time education professor. I'm sorry, I'm not camera ready, and I'm also having new computer / webcam issues, so I'm here as much as I can be today.
Kathleen, we're thrilled that you're here today. I got to tell you, Pierce was the last college I was waiting to hear from.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, okay. No, it's okay, because I know process and procedures, but it's so hard when you're like, okay, just one more to go. Are they in? Are they in? So I'm thrilled to say everybody who was a past recipient of the funding is in for this additional fund. So Kathleen, glad that you're here today.
Thank you.
Who would like to go next? Awesome. I see Marianne.
Hi, I'm Marianne Smith from Sturgis College and sometime participant in this group. Happy to be here and thank you for reaching out about the additional funds. I'm anxious for that conversation. Unfortunately, I'm triple booked as always, so I'll just stay a little bit and then I'll have to log off, but great to see so many of you again.
Great to see you, Marianne. We're also recording. We have a couple colleagues that had conflicts today, so we will absolutely record everything. If at any point you need to jump off, just remind me and I'll make sure I get that recording to you. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. Good morning, everyone. I'm Colleen Mckinley from Cerritos College, the Director of Educational Partnerships and Programs, and that includes our teacher track program. And just like Marianne, I am triple booked this morning. I can be here for an hour and then I have a presentation to do, but I'm glad that I can make a portion of it. So thank you for always being so flexible, Renee.
Always. We have to be. Thanks, Colleen, for being here. I appreciate it. I know how busy everybody is, and so especially our administrators that are on the team. So thank you. Who would like to go next? I appreciate taking the time to do the introductions too, because anytime we have new members of our team, I really think it's important to set the tone where they get a sense of who everybody is and where they're coming from. So I appreciate the investment and the time. Okay, I know we have a few more people. We had somebody that just joined. Anyone else like to jump on and say good morning and introduce themselves? Oh, our fearless leader is here, Miss Yadira.
Hi, good morning, everybody. As I sit here with a broom, I was sweeping, but I wanted to kind of give a shout out to Renee. She always says like she puts everybody first, but really this whole thing wouldn't be possible without her. So she says she's a facilitator, but she's really a lead. So the lead is really Renee. Just wanted to say that we work together. My name is Yadira Arellano, and just like Megan, I get the honor of teaching as well. I teach education and early childhood education at El Camino College and Rio Hondo College. And welcome everybody. And just like Renee said, we are super excited. It is unspent funds, and but it's still unspent funds, and they're giving it to us. So congrats to everybody.
I love it. I was excited because when it came down to unspent funds, they had to say which group is ready to go. And the fact that we were in the conversation from the very beginning of 3 groups that are ready to go and they decided to invest in 2. It's great.
I think, yeah, no, it was, Leah was there in that meeting and it was a very interesting meeting, but we partnered together. And we were I was very professional. I want you all to know, those of you who know me, I want to speak my mind, but I catch myself not speaking my mind. And that day I did a very good job. I'm very proud of myself. I want to kudos also to Leah because we kept ourselves composed and we got the money.
Proud of you, Yadira. Very proud of you.
Thank you, Leah. I was very professional.
Leah, do you want to introduce next?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Just introduced, right?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Leah Martinez. I'm from Rio Hondo College, teacher prep coordinator. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Leah. I love your lighting today. It looks really almost like festive. It looks cool.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, who would like to introduce next?
I'll go next. I'm not quite camera ready, but my name is Leticia Rojas Leti, and I am from Pasadena City College, education faculty and teacher coordinator.
Letty, I am thrilled that you are here today, and it's always fine to be not on camera, everybody. Do what's comfortable and what works for you. I see we've got Liz. Liz, are you up for saying hello and introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning, friends and colleagues. I am Liz Lopez, and I have the honor and privilege of serving our child development students and hopefully soon our education students at Harbor College.
Excellent. Are you going to be one of the unicorns that gets to teach in both departments? Or like how it's, or I shouldn't say departments, but both EDU and ECE?
Absolutely.
We consider those magical unicorns. Not everybody has the certification to teach in both. And so that is awesome. And I've got to tell you, many, many moons ago when I was a professor, gosh, I'm like the old person now. That's what I've become. But I literally used to have to fight over this discussion of could we have an ECE EDU faculty that was a joint? For years, no, 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 no. And now that like we're in this and I'm seeing job postings like Santa Monica came out, I'm like, it's real. It's real now. And it's exactly what we need in our system. We need cross-system people. I actually had the chance, I know we have another introduction, but just briefly, this past week on Monday, Dr. Daisy Gonzalez was the keynote opener at the JSPAC series, professional learning series that happened for 4 days this week. And it was fascinating because they open it up for questions. And I don't know why people, like if you've got the acting chancellor or the deputy superintendent, every single hand should be up, right? That, in my head, that's what I think. I was the only person that asked a question. And one of the things I kind of threw in within my questioning was, why don't we have positions that are cross-system positions? And she goes, oh, and wrote it down. So that's it. I love that word crossing systems because there's so much like intersegmentality in what we do. And you know what I mean? And so it makes sense. Melita, are you able to hop on and say good morning and introduce yourself? If not, you can do it in the chat, no stress. Okay, maybe she's not available right now. No problemo. So we've got our agenda for today. Melita, if at any point you are available and want to hop on and say hi and introduce yourself, please do, but no pressure at the same time. So just quickly, what we've got on our agenda today is SWP unspent funds. Basically, that means we need to brainstorm and talk about what we're going to do. I wanted to open the space for some campus reports for spring. I know that before the new variant came out, a lot of our campuses were really hoping to have a lot more face-to-face in spring. And it seems like some campuses are going forward, some are pulling back. So I thought it'd be good to just touch base about that. We also want to just spend 1 or 2 minutes talking about Teach for LA in spring and also when we want to meet for the spring semester. I see Melita has no mic, so no problem. We appreciate you being here, but let's go ahead. Oh, and good morning. Yay, congratulations on the fun. So, I want to share with everybody how we're going to be breaking up the funds. So let me pull up that document real quick. And we spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way that, actually before I share this, trying to figure out a way that we could be as equitable as possible. I'm going to be honest, within our first discussion, the moment we heard that there were funds, the first thing we said was, wait a second. You know, we've had Harbor come on, we've had Santa Monica, like they're active partners, Pasadena, like multiple colleges that are not funded through previous TPP, SWP projects have come on and are part of our Teach LARC collaborative. So the first thing we asked when there was unspent funds, can we fund the new campuses? Because to me and to us, like that made sense. We already had investment, all of us. Let's take this investment and scale and have additional campuses in the region. We totally understand their response. They said no. The reason why they said no is because these funds need to be fully expended by March 31st, expended or encumbered. And so with that, they said that there wasn't going to be time to cut new contracts and therefore they couldn't have additional campuses included. And so we were told that these 18-19 funds would have to be given to our TPP 20 to 21 campuses, okay? Because originally when it said 18-19 funds, we thought we had to go back to 18-19 campuses. And anyways, just want to let you know that it's taken a couple days to kind of get a grasp on what's happening. Now, with these funds, and I have to tell you also, we have only minimal information right now. And so the more we get, the more we'll share. Basically today, we're going to share everything that we know at this point. One other thing. So once they told us that we would not be able to allocate funding to new campuses, the leadership team stepped back and said, well, how can we still take an inclusive approach? because, you know, honestly, that's how TPP rolls and has historically operated for many, many years, both in our region, but also as a statewide entity. And so our leadership team thought, well, what if we could survey the campuses that did not get funds and see what they need, where their gaps are, and see if we can use some of the funding in order to try to fill some of those gaps. And so for an example would be, maybe there's a campus who doesn't have TPP funds that would really like to host an equity conference in spring. So then what we could do is we could get that, and that as more of like a regional goal instead of that campus specific goal, pull it out to the region, plan it as a region, market it a ton with that one campus to make sure that any student they have that want to attend, or staff or faculty, whoever we're you know, servicing, will be able to attend. And then with anybody else in the region, we can fill in addition. Especially if we're in the virtual space, that's one thing that's really good about the virtual space, is we really don't have to limit how many people are at different things. And so that was kind of our thinking, is, well, let's pull some of the funds back to the lead campus, so that way we can like execute what some of these campuses that were not funded kind of need. Does that make sense? Any questions or comments about that? If you see a thumbs up. We're always trying to be equitable is what it comes down to. So, okay, so our plan that we've got, and I'll drop this, you know what, actually, I'm not going to drop it in the chat. I'm just going to show it because I'm not 100% sure yet that this is our final draft. I need to make sure from the region, like I've sent it to them. Once they say, yes, we're good to go, then we can send it out to everybody as like the final. But I'm happy to show it right now. But if you can just wait till you like share it, I'd appreciate it. So we have a total of $286,000 for this project. We are splitting it where we're putting $17,000 at each of the campuses through the region. You have until March 31st to spend those funds. And then Long Beach City and Rio Hondo are actually at $18,000. And Leah and Megan, I'm sorry, we had a slight adjustment. So I know originally I was thinking 19, it had to land at 18. I apologize for that. And so since they're part of the leadership team, we knew that they were going to be involved in different meetings and other things going on. So we wanted to put a little bit additional investment there. El Camino's got 80,000. That will go to fund any of kind of like our larger projects that we're thinking of. I've already received some really, really great emails with suggestions of how we want to take this money and invest it. Part of this money will also go to contract me to do this piece of the work for the 3 months, because the contract I have doesn't include the additional deliverables that we have from this. We're also thinking about taking some of the funding and utilizing it for Spring Teach for LA, because there are different gaps that we have with Teach for LA that we've just been kind of putting Band-Aids on for a while. And so we're hoping to utilize some of the funding to kind of improve accessibility and whatnot. So just what we've got right here. Any questions, any comments? I wanted to make sure I was explicit, saying Teach LARC has gained additional partner colleges, examples, Compton, Pasadena, Santa Monica, Harbor, etc. Our plan includes funding will specifically support inclusive teacher preparation practices and efforts. We wanted to make sure that we kind of let that be known. And my rationale for that is, if we ever get additional funds, like we want to be constantly building, all right? So next round, maybe then all the campuses can come in. So that's the thinking with that. Any comments, thoughts on this? I see a thumbs up. It goes pretty quickly, you know what I mean? Like once we delegate or designate it between all 13 of our campuses. But I also wanted to make sure that as we are doing these allocations, that we wanted to make sure that they were feasible amounts to spend. You know, when I sent this into the LARC, the first thing I said is like, when is paperwork happening? Is it going to happen before we go to break? Will the funds be available in January so we can start spending them right away? Realistically, we know our system. And the last thing I want is the funds to get approved at the end of January, and then you have 4, 5, 6 weeks to spend them out. So plan now and be ready to execute fast. And I know that's a lot, but this is an opportunity. And just take it as an opportunity, take it as a positive. If you get to any point where you are out of capacity or you need support or you've got $5 grand and you're not sure what to do with it, like please, please, please contact me. I can connect you with different groups. I can be like a puzzle maker and kind of get you to different people or different groups that you might want to contract. I could also help you develop a spending plan, or just please know that we're here to support you. Now, I want to open up the floor right now and to have some conversation about how we can spend some of these funds. I'd be happy to share what was already sent to me, but I thought it might be good if people use their voices to share the kind of like the suggestions that have come through so far. So anybody willing to share?
Can I? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of, I've read some of the emails that were sent to you, Renee, and I think some people have recommended some curriculum development, which I think is a really great idea. But I was thinking that maybe for those who are willing to probably do a regional curriculum development, because I mean, that's one of the reasons, that's one of the objectives that we have, is to have regional alignment, right? So we might as well do it together, because I think we are thinking of, a lot of us are thinking of the same things as far as curriculum development is concerned, like ethnic studies and things like that.
Let's be explicit. So I know somebody said EDU and ECE classes in Spanish. That was something that was a priority. So say that again, Leah, what you were thinking, ethnic studies?
Ethnic studies and all the other courses that other colleges have not developed.
Okay.
I know Rio Hondo needs them to develop some courses. Sorry, my dog is crazy.
Okay, totally happens. I know that somebody reached out also about the idea of doing kind of like a crosswalk in terms of what's available in the region for paraeducators and how do we scale those opportunities for paraeducators. So is that something I should include on the list, I'm assuming? Okay. Colleen, I see your hand. Why don't you go ahead and share?
Good morning. So a couple of thoughts and then a question. With the new subject matter flexibility, I think we have an opportunity to, with the liberal studies major now counting towards subject matter, part of our barrier, one of the barriers for our students, and we've talked about this for a long time, we talked about in our last meeting, is that every CSU does things differently, and we really need to push this regional conversation. So I would love to see us maybe utilize some of this funds to bring or host the convening that we almost got to before the pandemic. We had it scheduled, and this came up just with the pathway to Dominguez Hills when we met last time, that we really need to start pushing our CSUs to have regional conversations. This came up yesterday in the, we had the Cal State Long Beach Community Partners meeting. And so I think we can utilize that to our advantage. And now that we have some more funding, it might help us be able to do something. March is a little scary to put everything together and to get the right players in the room, but you
can do it, Colleen.
It's possible. So that's one, and it was one of our deliverables in the last project, was the 4-year partnership. So I think that goes to my question. And while I'm glad that there is unspent funds and we get that, we've had issues with getting support from the CTE deans in funding our project. So my question is, are we going to go after additional funds? What type of support do we have, do you think? And how can we also use these funds to somehow bring attention to it so that we are more eligible for
it? Okay. Yadira, do you want to speak to this or do you want me to? I totally can. I am actually going to pause on this one. So hopefully, thanks everybody for going off of recording for just a minute to talk about that. Colleen, I see your hands up. What would you like to share?
Thanks. Sorry, kind of having some internet issues. So I wanted to also mention, as we think about what a future project might look like, to utilize CPTP as a way to leverage, because this is a U.S. Department of Ed grant. There will be research that comes out from West Ed, it is the grant itself is allowing our students that work experience, mentorship, and I think if we could do that across the region, that would make huge impacts to the pipeline. And so anyway, I just wanted to kind of in the recording talk about CPTP, and while it's been difficult, it's kind of a labor of love, right? And we're seeing huge results. We've seen an increase in our program as a result of it, and I think that might be something that we could look at if the tide is turning to address that need.
Colleen, I agree 100%. I have a listing of a couple things that I'm already starting to think, like moving forward, what do we want to have at the foundational level? We're also trying to elevate the work. For those of you that are new, we have a project with the feds where 3 of our campuses, we're working with the Center for Collaborative Education, and it's a grant with them, and it's with El Camino College, Rio Hondo College, and Cerritos. And we are sending through these cohorts of future teachers with mentors, and it's like a really pretty hardcore intensive program that all of us are spending many, many hours on, but it is producing results like Colleen said. And so Colleen, we've been trying to elevate that program. Just this week at JSPAC, we actually did one of our 4 days was on retention of teachers of color, was about mentorship programs, and we spotlight the CPTP program, including using slides from the presentation, showing the different demographics of the mentors and the students. Plus, we also had Yvonne Rebus on. And so we're looking for other ways to elevate CPTP. And I completely agree with you that that needs to be part of the strategy. And mentorship and cohorts, no brainer. Right? It's just about putting it into our systems. And then I also really think what Marianne put in the chat is important. Marianne, why don't you come on next to talk about that? Because I agree with you. It's like we're just, it's like patch, Band-Aid, Band-Aid. So why don't you unmute and talk with everybody a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm just saying there are lots of big federal grants out there, and that collaborating on some of those, whether we, join forces with the 4 years or amongst ourselves, I think we probably have a pretty good shot at accessing. I know Colleen already has some IUS money. I have IUS money, but it's not particularly for teachers. But I think those things are out there. I can say I actually had that kind of money for 11 years and ran programs at Chapman University in their teacher ed, in the College of Education. And my focus was specifically on drawing students from the community colleges over to Chapman. I had enough money to pay for all of their tuition for their last 2 years of college and through their master's in teaching. So we know there's interest. We just have to be, I think, really creative about and broad, and recognizing that we're worth getting some of that federal money, whether it's from National Science Foundation or Department of Ed. I think Upward Bound has a new call right now, and they have a teacher track, I believe. Are they running it this year? Does anybody know? The Upward Bound teacher prep?
I don't know off the top of my head. Does anybody know?
And I think if they are, California is really well positioned because of all of our dual enrollment programs. We could, talk about those kind of things. Anyway, there's lots of money. And community colleges, at least in the National Science Foundation, we're the belle of the ball right now. There's a certain percentage of their funding that has to go to community colleges. And in the same way that, we know that Biden is more of an education focused president, his wife is a community college instructor. So, let's capitalize on that. Anyway, I'm just going to also share really quickly what my faculty are saying they would like to do with these unexpected funds, knowing that the preschool and childcare programs in our area are having a really hard time employing people. And when the faculty talk to students, many of them can't afford the live scan or the CPR class. So we would like to fund those things. We have the live scan machine here. We just need to pay for a person to run it for the day so that we can get through a whole bunch of our students and get them eligible for employment. Same thing with the CPR class. They're also interested in 2 workshops they'd like to see either at this school or regionally, a nurtured heart workshop or a conscious discipline workshop. And then they also feel that they need to be ready for the return to campus of students who have just spent 2 years doing coursework with technology. And so they would like to upgrade the technology in the classroom. They don't have smart boards, they don't have iPads, they don't have any of that kind of thing. So they're asking about those types of ways so that they can develop their delivery in a more integrated way with technology and in person. So thank you.
Marianne, that was like, that's beautiful. These are all things that I've got listed right now. I have to tell you, at the leadership community of practice on Friday, our speaker like talked so much about conscious discipline, and she was actually at a conscious discipline conference in Florida. So maybe we can just work with Jackie Yadira and contract her to do that. It'd be a really, and she's the director of early childhood programs for a school district. So she might even be a really good kind of contact for our students to be networking with and getting to know. She's also a mentor with the CPTP program. So I love this idea of looking for larger funding too, Marianne. I think that's really important. I think everything, okay, now I'm going to have to check in about the live scans. I know Bobby has told us that we can do technology with this fund. That's not an issue. I'm assuming the live scans will be okay, especially since you already have the machine and it's more just like hiring, a person to come in to do it.
Yeah, we just need a person. We just need somebody on extra hours to run the machine, because our live scan is situated in human resources. It's for new employees. And so they run it on a regular basis, but they just do it for new employees. And so we just need to put somebody in there, and then we can funnel through the students.
Excellent.
That's a really low cost investment.
Marianne, is it possible that you could have students from other campuses that could
I will ask.
well?
I will ask. I need to make an appointment with HR just to discuss, and I don't want to impact their routines and also
Absolutely.
risk. But what I'd like to do is see if I couldn't do it on a Saturday, so that we're not bringing a bunch of people into a building when employees are working, because I don't want the employees to feel unsafe. So that's kind of what I'd like to do, is see if I can't get, a short-term or professional experts to come in for a day or two, on a Saturday, to just run it for all of the students. Let's just get them all done. Anybody that's, even halfway through their ECE program, let's just get them all live scanned so that they have that, so that they're ready to go apply for jobs.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, Renee.
Okay, just so everybody knows, people are having trouble hearing some of you that are talking. Marianne, I think you were a little low. So apparently I'm loud, which doesn't surprise me. So if anybody else, if we can't hear you, we might just be like, like louder or something like that. Okay. Karen, I keep it real.
Can I just ask Marianne that question about the live scan? So is it something that you, HR have to get Marianne from, like, I'm sure an agency or something, the live scan?
We've had the equipment for years, because I remember when I was employed 10 years ago, they just sent me out to campus safety. It used to be situated in campus safety. And we just went and we did our live scan there, and instead of having to go to the police department or somewhere else. So we've had the equipment. I don't know how that occurred. I just want to exploit the fact that it's here, and we have students that need to have their live scan. And I'm guessing many of the other schools have their own live scan capabilities. They probably just don't advertise it. I don't know.
Can I just say something quickly, Marianne? Yes, we do, like El Camino College does. However, when I've asked, because I actually had the same questions, like, can I just have the students do them there? HR didn't want to do it for the students. And I think it comes down to, like you said, hiring somebody to actually do the live scan.
Yeah, dear, I think you're totally right. I think HR like steps away from it because they get overwhelmed because we have a lot and they already have a lot going on. So if we could like what Marianne's suggesting, where it's like a Saturday and we outsource it, and gosh, that would be awesome. We could even make it competitive for the students. Maybe they come up and it's like here's some supplies for the semester, or you know what I mean? Like just
absolutely
a little tchotchke or something to let them know that we're thinking about them and we're there. So I love this idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to hire somebody. Let's say if I want 8 hours of live scan, I better plan on hiring 20 hours of that person.
Yeah.
Because that will be my gift to HR then. To
right.
say, oh my God, I didn't need them for the whole 20 hours. Can you use them for filing or, whatever else, or doing live scan? I mean, we're going to be on a big hiring blitz.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 16 open faculty positions. Nobody in ECE or EDUC, but lots of math and CTE and English and counseling, and so they're going to be needing that. We also have a ton of retirements, which means they're going to be refilling staff positions. And so, maybe we can just swing a deal, and I'm all for bartering. You let us use your machine, we'll help you out too. So
that's the way to do it. So that's the only way to do it, honestly. I did want to add to Renee, actually, yesterday I was just about to text you. I actually thought about Jacqueline, just like you.
I want to bring her in more because she's special and our students are everything to her. And so the fact that Marianne said conscious discipline and we know somebody who's an expert in it is perfect.
No, absolutely. And I think I actually wanted to, bring this up to TPP because we need a lot of support for first generation students. And so we were going to do a workshop, a wellness workshop, but I really wanted to focus on first generation undocumented students. And Jacqueline, I was thinking of Jacqueline because I was going to ask her if she can come and do, I don't know, how do we contract her, Renee, but we can think about something like that.
Yeah,
and it can be
that's an interesting idea. Yeah. One of the things that we were talking about, I'm trying to remember where, I think it came out of Teach for LA, was Yadira, Yadira's story. We knew it was going to be impactful, but man, you should see like what people say about Yadira. And so it was like, wait a second. And then at that point we realized maybe we need an affinity group for our first generation students. So Yadira, I feel like, I appreciate that you were willing to like bring that idea forward and to want to invest in that. I'm wondering though, I don't know if you have capacity for you to lead it. Maybe it would be worth it for us to hire Jackie and have her start an affinity group and get that going.
Yeah, that was the plan. No, not me. Look at me.
Okay,
I bring the work over and I want somebody else to do it. No, I can't. I wish I had the time, honestly. And that's why I thought about Jackie, because I wish I had the time, honestly. And I really, right now with all this going on in CPTP, I cannot possibly, but I thought of Jackie for that same reason, Renee.
And maybe affinity groups are something that we start to look at and start to get going, and maybe try to get 1 or 2 happening with this additional funding. I think these are all great things. I want to go back really quickly to Marianne. You mentioned Nurtured Heart. Can you tell me a little bit more? Not sure, or could you just connect me with the faculty? My first gut instinct is that we should contact Peach and ask them if they have a leader who would be interested in doing that workshop for us. So I'm just taking notes. And what other ideas do we have? I know that one that was emailed to me was about getting some regalia for our students and to see if we could get sashes or pins or maybe something that's a regional representation, because we know we can't do it campus by campus with the way that we've got this allocation this time. But what if we got Teach LARC pins for all of our students?
Our school does not allow students or for any groups on campus to provide additional sashes or anything. We have set things and that's all they want to deal with. A pin, sure, but they're not going to let them wear other, students they show up with their things the last minute, but we wouldn't be able to give them anything more. I am going to have to sign off here in a second, and I just want to say that When I was at Chapman University running programs, one of the students that I worked very closely with, in fact, she came and lived at my house for 3 years because she didn't actually have a place to live, is this year's California Teacher of the Year that's competing at the national levels, Londra Diaz. And first generation, lived in a garage when she did have housing, has also quite a story. And so if we are putting on something in the region and we want to invite her, please let me know, because I think she'd probably be amenable to do anything I ask her if her time permits.
Marianne, you're reading my mind. I was talking with Steve Batista about her and like some other, because
Oh
she
yeah,
was,
she went
right?
to Santa Ana. I brought her through Steve's program.
I was thinking maybe she could be the keynote for Teach for LA for spring.
She's amazing and powerful, and one of the few teachers that I work with on a regular basis who sincerely adheres to the idea of being a reflective practitioner. She questions herself, she questions others on a daily basis. I can't say she's always well loved on her campus because she pushes the envelope all the time. You know, what are we doing talking about this? This isn't going to help us be better teachers. What are we, you know, she's really edgy, but absolutely delightful, and really an amazing bilingual teacher. She teaches in a dual immersion program. And I'm excited that the superintendent picked her to be the national competitor, because I think, again, she's got an incredible story and she's a powerhouse.
Excellent.
Really a powerhouse. So let me know.
Marianne, would you mind spelling her name in the chat for me? Because I wrote it down. I don't know if I got it right. Is it Londre? I feel like I'm off on that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alondra. There we go.
Good to see everybody.
Good to see you too. Thanks for being here today. Okay, so what other ideas do we have? How else would we like to spend this investment? If we're done with ideas for today, that's no problem at all. I'm totally open to email if anybody has any additional ideas that come up. I'm just going to be like literally keeping like a running record of all of what we're talking about, and then based on, you know, how much we have and how we can actually execute it. Oh, thanks so much for the link for the conscious discipline group. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we will just continue to have conversations about this. If anybody has any other ideas that they would like to share, please know we're 100% open to them. As I mentioned, there was some discussion about having some sort of like maybe equity summit or something related to that. We talked about maybe possibly working with the Coalition for Anti-Racism or another group to bring in some other voices we haven't heard before, but we're open to any ideas. You know, we want to make sure that we are stewards of the investment that we've been given with this additional investment. I love this. Can we fund field trips to UC, CSU campuses when it's safe? Marini, I think that would be the case. I don't think we'll be able to use these funds for it. I don't know. How's everybody with field trips right now? You know, it felt like stuff was starting to open. And then since the new variant has been, you know, like it's out, I'm seeing some things pulling back. And so I'd love to get an idea, how are things like for field trips? I got to tell you, last night at my children's high school, they had their choir and band concert, and we have a brand new performing arts center that holds like 500 people, and it was standing room only. And I was like, oh, please, 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 please don't have this be some sort of super spreader event right before the holidays. You know, it's just a tricky time still. So any groups, are any of you doing field trips yet? And what is your campus policy? I see Megan's head saying no.
I would love to, but I know that at the CSCLB meeting yesterday that I attended most of, they mentioned that their fieldwork is going to be purely online except for student teachers. So I know that my dream of returning, taking my Long Beach City students to Cal State Long Beach is probably not going to happen if they're, you know, limiting volunteers.
What about other campuses? Thank you, Megan, for sharing that.
I have a question about the workshops. How would we do that? Are we going to plan like everybody contribute some of the funds and plan like a larger workshop series, or would that come out of the main
Oh
funds?
no, Kelly,
Or
like you get your money and we're not going to ask you for any of that money that you're
okay, I just want to.
So like you get that 17, you figure out how you want to spend it, what's going to work for you. The larger allocation was more like for the campuses that aren't getting 17,000.
Okay.
We wanted to make sure that they could say, "Hey, I need this, can you run it for us?" You know?
Okay.
But the ones that are being shared right now, to me, we absolutely should run these region wide, especially since they're on Zoom. And so don't consider that part of your allocation. Dara and I will figure, and the leadership team will take that from the El Camino allocation.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. We were talking about dates for Teach for LA. I don't even remember what we said for that. I'm embarrassed. I have to look at my old notes.
Oh, I just remember Leah mentioned her spring break is a little earlier. And so I think it was like the last week of March, right, Leah? So one of our quick conversations that you, Leah, myself, and Yadira had was Teach for LA could maybe be the week of the 21st. So I was just throwing that out there since I had to log off. I know it's out of order on the agenda.
No, I'm putting it on my calendar right now, Megan. Okay.
That was just our initial like 5-second conversation was, oh, I wonder if that would be a good week. But that's where we left off.
Well, and I know that we were talking about different timing for Teach for LA too. Okay, before we go into Teach for LA, anything else on strong workforce, unspent funds? Anything? Okay.
One last one.
Yes.
Sorry, Renee.
Oh no, it's all good.
Sorry, I've got my little one. I've got 2 at home today, so I'm trying to juggle multiple things. But I have
professional and a mom, and it is okay.
Thank you. But I have a rather progressive and out there idea for these unspent funds. So one of my visions for, actually, I was considering writing this for our local SWF funds. And so I thought of our students that are predominantly at Harbor College and some of our other sister campuses that are low income, especially in our area. They're from a little city called Wilmington. They don't ever leave that small little town. And so I thought, now with the expansion of care for 4-year-olds, and now that we're in a sense merging a little bit and collaborating early childhood and education, why not create what I like to call the play-based tour and create a tour of these different centers, schools, and programs that really focus on having a unique approach to serving young children. And by that, I mean, I know that the logistics of this during COVID are a little difficult, but with what we're doing with technologies, it could be a virtual tour. And so what I do with my practicum students, instead of a final or something, that is rote memorization, I say, let's make this meaningful and visit a school or program like Reggio inspired programs, Waldorf education, forest schools. And that's what we do for our final day. But what if we can bring that to students who typically don't get to see this unless they hear about it in their courses, or they kind of phantom and say, oh, what would that program be like? And if we could sort of set up a virtual tour of these different schools and programs, and I could think of, just a handful of them that do amazing things with children, because as we're expanding care for 4-year-olds, I love the idea, but I am also frightened as to what it's going to do to 4 and 5-year-olds as we merge into elementary schools. And I think what we keep seeing over and over and hearing from our students is, Liz, what you're teaching us doesn't apply to the real world. There's a disconnect here. And how do we challenge the status quo? And how do we keep focusing on play-based and being child-centered? And I want to expose these students that there are programs like this. There are gems in the community. So why not put a virtual tour, all these wonderful programs, and open it up not just to students, but to the community and other early childhood educators, so that we can kind of blow their minds to these different and unique approaches. Just putting it out there. I know it's a little out there.
I don't think it's out there at all. I think I love it. Leah put, it sounds exciting and innovative. Love your passion. When you had emailed me, it was interesting because I was like, wait a second. CAIC used to do the bus tour, Southern California Association for Young Children, or Southern California. I'm trying to think of what the whole acronym is, but it's basically NAEYC, but at the California level, but at the Southern California level. And they used to do a bus tour where it was on a Saturday. They would, they'd pick up the students at one school. They'd end up going to 3 or 4 different centers over the course of the day. And it was like this really, really like impactful experience for our students. So I don't foresee any issue executing and creating this. Is it going to take time? Yeah, because we need to get a couple groups on board. Now, Liz, one thing I wanted to ask you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, would you be willing to have a meeting with me so we can kind of like flush it out, and I can kind of like, because I know like there's a good Reggio school in Santa Monica, like, so we have to make sure that who we want, you know what I mean, and make sure like it's the right match. I also know that we're focusing in Los Angeles, but I do know a fantastic play-based school that is up in Acton Agua Dulce, which is off of the 14 and the 5, and it's part of a network of schools in California, and they even have some sites outside California. So it might kind of be a cool one to showcase. Yeah, completely unique. The kids are outdoors all the time, and they're outdoors from preschool until 6th grade all the time. I think they actually even expanded to junior high this year. So Liz, would you be up for meeting and talking?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'd love to help in any way I can.
Like before we go to holiday, because I've got to start like kind of grounding it and starting to talk to people. Would that be okay?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, I was attempting to write this into our local fund. So I had already started a proposal, and I thought the scale of this is too big for me to tackle at Harbor. It's just 2 full-time faculty, myself and my colleague. And I thought it's too much for me to tackle. So if this is something that you want to take on, that's music to my ears.
I can totally take this as long as Yadira and our leadership team approve it. I can take this on as part of my scope and responsibilities for this 3-month part. Kelly, I see you wanted to say something too.
Oh, I was going to say we did something similar twice in the past, a long time ago, with our mentor program, and we made it part of our mentor seminar hours for our teachers to prepare. And then we did like a little map. One year we got our dean to provide at least one bus for people, but most of the programs obviously were all local. So students, got together in cars. I mean, times are a little different right now, but it helped to like showcase, and obviously they were all, excellent programs because they'd been vetted through the mentor programs. And it gave our students an opportunity to see like the other classrooms their classmates were talking about, in our seminar classes. So yeah, we did something similar to that. It was years ago, but it was really a good activity.
Kelly, is it possible? I'm not sure who was involved in that planning team, but would it be possible to get like their old documents of what they used to kind of put it together? You know what I mean? Or like, here's the schedule of the day that we had, or something like that, just because it's always nice to kind of see how somebody in the past framed it when it was successful.
It was actually me, and I did it with the mentors. So I'll have to go try to dig those documents off my work computer and see if I still have them all.
Isn't that funny when you're like, do I have that old syllabus? And you're like, no, that was 2 computers ago. Yeah.
I even like made a map with like little dots on it, like for, where everyone could go. So
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. What does everybody else think about this idea? Does it sound like a good use of investment if we can get this going? Okay, I see a couple thumbs up. Excellent.
Are we all concerned about programs wanting to have people coming through still?
If we do it virtual,
virtual, yeah.
If we do it virtual, I think we can do it. I don't know if we can do it face-to-face right now, to be honest. I think if we just from the beginning decide we're going to execute it virtually, and and maybe we create a kind of a set thing that each one of the schools do. You know what I mean? I think it could work. Yeah.
We have one of our mentor teachers at the Bright Horizons Universal program. I don't know if any of you've been there, but when your company spends $17 million to build a facility for you, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I'm trying to think. I know somebody who did recruitment for Bright Horizons. Who is it that you know?
We have a mentor teacher. Her name is Marie Ornado. She's an infant toddler teacher, and their infant toddler program it's just beautiful and natural, and they have a certified outdoor program. That would be a really cool program to tour.
Okay. Excellent. Any others that we want to mention right now? Like while we're still like talking about this, I'm going to write down my school.
I've got a few on my list too. So there's Little Owls in Long Beach, which is Reggio inspired. And they had already agreed to do one for my practicum students, so I can definitely connect with them. There's Maple Village, which is Waldorf education in Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also Pacific Sage Preschool in PV. And the director there is a very close friend of mine, and she welcomes tours. She's amazing, a fighter in the field in early childhood. And if we really want to get creative, there's also Adventure Playground. You know, the one up in Berkeley is amazing, amazing. But we do have some local ones here. I think the Hermosa Beach one is fantastic. I mean, it's not care, but it allows us to really just kind of dive into that idea of risky play and allowing children.
Field trip there, Adventure Playground.
And it's outdoors.
I know I mean, Adventure Playground, I've never been, but I've seen pictures and I've seen video footage. That would be, well, I'm going to be honest, Liz. I don't know if our workman's comp and stuff would cover if they saw where we were taking them. You know what I mean? You have to do all the forms for yourself.
Talk about risky play, right?
It's like if you have not seen Adventure Playground, just Google it. And like, I mean, it's like wet and dirty, and there's nails and wood and hammers, and it's just a whole different world, which is healthy for kids. Yeah. Leah, what did you want to say?
I was just thinking maker spaces might be a good, places to feature too. I think the CCC would love that.
Oh, interesting. I love that.
And there is a place where I know you and Bobby went there. I took my
Crash
kids
for
there.
Teachers.
Crash for Teachers is a great place.
Maybe would it be weird if we did a field trip us there? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if we had a TPP field trip? That would be easy because we could all just meet each other there. You know what I mean? And like go do the tour and stuff. We wouldn't have to do the paperwork. That might be kind of a fun thing. Would people be into maybe a TPP field trip if we could get one going for us? It'd be optional. You do it if you want to. You know what I mean? Okay, I'll look and see. Bobby, I don't have a membership with Trash for Teachers, so I will check in with Bobby to learn more about that. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is so exciting. Isn't it exciting to have some additional funds and to just be dreaming? And it's nice. Get ready. Have lots of ideas, everybody, because this is, I think, what's going to be happening for a while for us now. So just keep going. Great. Any other comments or ideas or suggestions?
Yeah, I have an idea.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Since we're dreaming, let me do this camera. I have a bad hair day, so I have to.
Oh, you look good. I like that sweater.
Not for real. Thank you. I was just thinking about. I know we have a few funds left, but I'm always brainstorming on how to connect our students, get our students experience, our college students, some type of experience. And since we're in the teaching profession, I was thinking maybe we all could reach out to the high schools, and for those students who may be interested in teaching or not sure, or those child development programs that they have, etc. Maybe we could reach out to them, like about 4 schools around our schools. Every college has at least 2, 3, 4 schools that feed into or that you work with. Maybe we can reach out to those schools, and we have a unified discussion regarding, K-12 teaching, etc. And we could break off into groups and talk directly to our local schools. All this is virtual. Break off into groups, talk to our local schools, but the ones who are talking most are our college students, our child development students, education students who are interested. And it's something, it could be like they could have some type of lesson plan or something like that. And, for, 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and they could talk about whatever they want to talk about, or they could just discuss their experience, their college experience. what are they inspiring to do, if they're going to transfer, what college they're going to transfer, even talk whatever, financial aid and whatever's needed, whatever they come up with, our college students. So it'll be some type of experience for them so that they could get, some experience talking to students. And, the audience will be a captive audience with high school students. So they may take a liking to teach high school, and we could branch off. If we want to continue, we could have something for middle school students, and then they get an idea, they talk to middle school. I don't know. I know it's a fairy tale dreaming, so I heard the word dreaming. So hopefully we could do something similar, because right now I'm doing that with graphic design, because I have students, I have 2 students, graphic design students, animation student, and they're talking to TAP. They're going to set up a discussion with TAP High School graphic design program and animation program. So they're the ones that's organizing it. Their ideas, whatever their topics are, they're going to discuss with those students. And if they're student workers, they could get paid.
Oh.
You see? And then teachers, student workers already get paid up if they're, especially if they're already hired. And then the teachers, the instructors who are helping with the college, I was saying the college students are having their plans and talking. There could be stipends for the instructors to help coordinate everything and find the students and prep their own college students. So that's another way of utilizing funds in a positive way.
Love this.
So just a dream. So I'm gonna go back to sleep, and then I'll think of something else.
I like this. I wrote it down as the Teach LARC Student Education Symposium. So I took some notes on it. I will meet with the leadership team, and we can see how to put this into effect, or what this could look like. My concern is the stipend piece, because we're not going to have much time to contract multiple people, but maybe there's another way that we could do it. You know what I mean? Maybe, let me wrap my head around this. I think this is a good idea. I just need to figure out, if we had a year, it wouldn't be an issue. Since we have the 3 months, I just need to see how we can make it happen. But Leah and Megan and Yadira, maybe, I don't know if we have time next week to do a touch base before we go to break. I'll shoot out an email today to see if we could have a quick leadership meeting, just because I don't want to wait till January. I want to make sure that we've got a plan. Okay, I just got a private chat where somebody asked, what are the disallowed expenditures for this grant? I have to check that. I've been given, at this point, they haven't given me any guidelines. I've just gotten a couple emails with a little bit of information. So, and one of the tricky pieces is with SWP funds, we have some campuses that will approve certain things and other campuses will not, but we want to make sure that we have the general, overall, right now, we know if you have a tech purchase, that's going to be fine. We know if you want to do a workshop or you want to contract somebody, that's going to be fine. The regalia, the pins, we need to check on that. We need to check on marketing. There's certain things we just have to still get a little bit more clarity on before we officially say it's a go. Leah, what were you going to say?
I'm so excited with all these great ideas, Renee. And it doesn't have to be for this funding, right? I mean, we have,
Oh yeah, this there's a couple different things, because these ideas, let's see which of these we can do in the next, January, February, March. But let's also build this as a running list, because next time we write a proposal, we've already got data of what we're interested in, what our students are asking us, what we want to create. When we're doing the statewide proposal, there are pieces within this that I can bring up to the statewide level and have that be part of that conversation, that broader conversation. So to me, this is incredibly rich on many levels.
Yeah,
so I'm just trying to capture as much as I can. Kelly, thank you for already sending me the form for the mentor tour. That is awesome.
Renee, one last dream.
Yes, dream big, dream big.
One of the things that we're trying to do at Rio Hondo that we're exploring is having a podcast. So,
oh my gosh, that is crazy.
I think we can do a regional podcast and we can host in the Teach LARC website.
Okay, can I throw this out here? I was actually talking with the Coalition for Anti-Racist Education about doing a podcast with high school students and college students.
Yeah, I'm already thinking of you.
Well, I don't know if I have capacity to do that in the 3 months. I mean, it depends once we break it down. I wish I was only working for Teach LARC because then I could do everything. But I work for a couple different groups. But another thing we could do, Leah, is if we wanted to do a regional podcast, we could contract a group to come in and get it going for us, right? And then if we run out of funds, then we just keep it running after. So I think there's ways that we can, in our meeting, I'm gonna make a note about the regional podcast and put CARE next to it to see if we want to try to kind of outsource it. And when I'm saying outsource, please know everybody, these are like vetted groups that all of us are like, we know people or we're involved with them, or like we're not just giving it off to like, some hoo-ha that's not going to do a good job. We're going to make sure that this is representative of our students and representative of the workforce and representative of our needs. So those of you that are new, just that's how I operate. That's how our team, that's how we work, right? Great suggestions. And I thank you for saying, yes, definitely outsource. I love the idea of a podcast. I got to tell you, student voice is something that's a huge one right now. Daisy Gonzalez, our acting chancellor, or was our acting chancellor up until a couple of days ago, she literally has been doing a tour of campuses to get student voice and perspective. So knowing that that's a priority with our chancellor's office leadership and aligning with that, while we also know it's like a good practice for our region, it's good and it's strategic. So great idea. Any other ideas? Now you realize you're going to get off this call today and you're going to be like, oh, okay, now I've got 5 more ideas this weekend. So please do not hesitate to email, text me. If there's anybody who's newer, just so you know, I'm going to put my cell in the chat. At any time you can contact me. And if you text me, just let me know who you are if we haven't written to each other before. But I want to be accessible. So let's see what else we have. Okay, anything else for this right now? Nope. Okay, then I will stop taking notes on that document. And then let's see what we've got next. Okay, just quickly, thought it would take a few minutes to do some campus reports to see where everybody's at. Will your campus be, like, what's going to be your percentage of face-to-face versus virtual? And another thing, it would be great to have an idea for everybody. Sorry, I spaced for a second. So sorry, it's sometimes I like go back and forth with the chat and then I lost my chain of thought there. So I apologize. So I agree with you, scholarships for mentor teachers. I'll have to see if that's something that we can do though. But with your campus reports, so will you be face-to-face? Will you be virtual? What are things looking like right now? Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing was your enrollment, because one of the things we're seeing across the state, enrollment's not good at all right now, at all. And so Kathleen, you want to share first?
Sure. Hi. In fact, I was just pulling up to check on mine. Let me look at it real quick. So we've decided to offer 2 classes on campus and 3 online, which was my pre-COVID schedule as a rule. And one of the things that I've noticed, I just got kicked off, so I can't see the enrollment. But when I checked it yesterday, let me see if I can sign in real quick. This semester was way down. We offered 1 class on campus, the education 1. And I started off with 19, I have 14 left. And I'm shocked at the apathy with which the students are participating. And I have had many conversations with them, and I've asked them to please have an honest conversation back with me about what is going on for them so that we can actually support them better. And a lot of the students, first of all, I have a lot of students who just came out of high school, so they are not yet college ready. And because of the pandemic, we haven't been able to offer go days or the other things that we were normally offering for students to help them acclimate and to help them get into what is expected of them in college. So many of them are truly unprepared this semester. And they are exhausted, they're working, they hate having to do the video observations instead of getting into a classroom. I actually had a few students that were able to do their observations in class, but the rest of them were overwhelmed by the videos, and it's more of the same thing that they haven't wanted to do in the past 3 semesters. So that's been challenging, very challenging. And when I looked at enrollment for the spring, we have, oh shoot, I keep getting kicked off of it, but I did notice that my online classes, ironically, are filling faster than the face-to-face classes. So while the district keeps insisting that students want to come back, I'm not seeing that evidenced in the way they're enrolling in the classes and in who is actually participating. So, again, TBD. And I'm hoping, I don't know with this new Omicron variant now, if that's going to slow us down again in terms of getting into schools for these observations. So it's exhausting for all of us, to be honest. It has been so overwhelming, and it's hard to cheer on a group of people who aren't enthusiastic. So that's where we are, hanging in there, but really it feels like Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Are others seeing that as well?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm at Pasadena City College. Similar things in terms of enrollment. I have 4 classes that I'm teaching for spring, and I'm offering 1 Education 13 Intro to Elementary teaching in person and 1 online. And the 1 online filled up, and the 1 in person is still about 50% filled up. And so when students are given a choice, they're opting for online. And I don't blame them. I think students are overwhelmed, they're exhausted. And I think that's school-wide where we're seeing a drop in enrollment. My dean hasn't pushed for online just yet. I think they're kind of holding out to see if enrollment in person kind of goes up. But overall, hanging in there. I think, we have all these internships and all these districts that are reaching out to us, and I'm sure to you all as well, that really need students to apply, and we're just having a hard time having the same kind of attendance and applications that we've had in the past. And I think part of it is there's a lot of employers out there, so students have their pick, and a lot of them are working and opting to work. But I do have a sense, I'm curious about what a large group of students are doing. A lot of our students, similar to what was just shared, for the internship, we've had more first-year students, 18-year-olds, than we have in the past. And so I'm wondering what's happening to the 25-year-olds, the 26-year-olds who tend to sometimes come to our classes, if they're kind of taking a break from school and kind of dealing with life situations. So hanging in there, hoping that the spring kind of brings a new energy.
Interesting. It's interesting what you said about the age. I know at El Camino and Rio Hondo and Cerritos, we're doing this project that we've shared with you, the CPTP program, and we've got about, I think it's like 275 students in right now, something like that. And we're literally showing the average age of our students is like 27.5 in that project, which is representative of like our schools. And so fascinating that you're seeing, Letty, all these like 18-year-olds and that they're not ready, and just really interesting, really interesting. The fatigue is so much right now too. It's bad. I hope everybody really stops. And I'm living it. I've got 2 15-year-olds that are in dual enrollment right now, everybody. We're pulling one of them out of dual enrollment for spring. It's too much. His mental health is like completely declined. And so it's like, great, dual enrollment's a great opportunity if you're mentally well, right? Because our kids are struggling right now. Do they really need AP? Do they really need all this extra? The younger ones, and even our college students that are balancing so much right now. Kelly, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, at City, we were, before the pandemic, probably offering about 8 to 10 dual enrollment classes. In spring, we have 0. Actually, Karen may be working. One of the things that we're working on with Karen in our dean's office is our dual enrollment's been all over. We lost a coordinator, then they let someone really good go. And now it's just kind of been the Wild West. And so we're working, part of the thing we're doing is working on new pathways, like more meaningful and targeted pathways that aren't over the place, because those students have not thrived. And in fact, yeah, we have no dual enrollment in the spring. So that part's been rough. Our youngest students, 18 to 22 are the ones that have struggled. City College has done okay with enrollment. I think we're down now like 90% of usual, or 88, something like that. So not as bad as some. Our department, we're going to be offering about only 30% of our classes. And those classes will be our curriculum, and our student teaching seminars will be in person, because I'm not teaching another semester of student teaching seminar online. It's just been too rough. And, the same thing, like we have our students coming to us after taking curriculum online, and they have A's in English 101 and 103, and then they're coming to practicum and they can't even write a journal or a lesson plan. And it's been a pretty frustrating semester. So we're bringing all of our curriculum and the student teaching seminars back, and then a few other courses, like one each of all the core courses, some in like hybrid. So we're going to try. I mean, our college will convert them to online if they don't enroll. Another thing, our district is mandating vaccines or an exemption. So our students can't even enroll until they're fully cleared. So it's going to be interesting to see how that, affects. It's kind of very slow going. And a lot of students are getting put on waiting lists until they can prove their vaccination status or their exemption. So we'll see. But yeah, so we're trying to bring some of those really hands-on things back. I mean, whether or not we're able to, our Child Development Center has taken some of our practicum students, at least for some hours this semester, which has been nice. So I'm hoping we'll get a little bit more in-person practicum in the spring, but now a new variant comes along just to like kind of make everybody tentative again. So, and we've also had a huge problem with this financial aid fraud. I don't know if you guys have had that, but especially my department, we have, out of our 4 late start online classes, we had about 56 fake students in just those 4 classes. So these bots are taking up space, and then students are probably going other places. So that's been really frustrating, and has added a whole other level on the faculty, trying to make sure we figure out who they are, get rid of them so they don't, I don't even know how it's even possible. Don't you have to prove things to get financial aid? But I guess not. So that's been a huge headache for us too, and has taken up a lot of our enrollment spots.
Kelly, we've had issues at multiple campuses in the region, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh no. And look at this. Oh, Letty just said same situation. They've gotten better too. Turning in assignments. The bots can turn in assignments.
Yeah, they'll go like once a week. Like I think they run a program or something that takes a quiz, and they get like 4 out of 20 on it. And you can't drop students. They have the right to fail, right? As long as, but so we were asking them to now we're asking them they have to post a video introduction or something at the beginning of class, or they'll get dropped. And, and so I've been telling faculty, even though we're not really supposed to, I say, send them a message. If you don't hear anything, drop them. If they're a real student, they will write you back and ask to be reinstated, but they don't ask to get reinstated. So
oh my God,
it's a lot of extra work.
How hard for faculty too. I mean, with everything that's going on, to have that on top of it. Oh man, maybe we should do some sort of faculty celebration as a region. Would that be weird to just host something?
How about instead of trash for teachers, we do like a massive outdoor massage, like self-care? Is that a good use of funds?
Let me think about this. Let me figure this out. Let's try and figure out something, right?
I think the district actually providing a workshop how to detect fake students. So it's been going. So they have been offering that training.
Wow, that is just unbelievable how much fraud. I mean, I think after post-pandemic, when we come out of it, I think there's going to be so much fraud that people engaged in. It's just ridiculous. Does SW pay for massage? Karen, I'm going to need to check bylaws on that one. Now, okay, here's where partnerships come in handy, because you know what? SWP does not pay for massage. But we could talk to California Credit Union or Schools First or a group like that and say, we have funding to do this piece, and this piece. Here's the other piece we have. Any chance you guys can take some unrestricted money and help us with that? Okay. It can never hurt to ask. That is one thing I've learned in my years. And so I'm going to pull this back to the leadership team and ask about some sort of faculty celebration this spring. I don't know what it could be, but maybe we can figure something out. Okay, good. Any other thoughts on this? Anything else about your spring campus and what's happening?
I can share a few things. Actually, yesterday we have a department meeting. So for spring 2020, we have about only 16% face-to-face class. That because it's actually based on the survey we did with students. So most of the students, they actually prefer to have online. So we're offering kind of online and hybrid and also face-to-face. And we just, right now, there's another survey going on for fall 2020. So it seems like we have about 300 students already replied and we're waiting for more. So it also seems like they're preferring more online classes. So we're thinking about 40 to 50% maybe for fall. And also for summer, it seems like about 58% for summer, plus offering face-to-face. So that's what's going on right now. I am going to teach one face-to-face in the spring. So that's I'm kind of excited for. But I look my enrollment, it's totally, it's huge gap if you look at it. My face-to-face class, I have only one enrollment for CD3, it's a curriculum class, but I have online and I have about almost 20, more than 20 students. So it's kind of like show their preference. So we're gonna see, how much enrollment happening, and also with all the, increased cases across, especially in schools. So let's see what happens. But we're aiming to move forward little by little, and also based on students' needs and what they prefer.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm really curious to see what's happening with enrollment. I can't wait until WestEd or somebody who's doing, a large scale report on it can help us, because, our community college system has the lowest enrollment we've had in 30 years right now. Yet the UCs had way more applications than they have capacity for. So it's like the system shifted during the pandemic, it seems like. I'm also curious to see what's going to happen to K-12 if if the mandates continue with the vaccines and what that's going to look like. So, what a time in education. Oh my goodness. We're all going to be writing books about this later in our career, you realize. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. Anybody else who'd like to share what's happening at Spring for their campus? If not, we can go ahead and transition. Also, it'd be good to let us know as things change, because I know that there'll probably be some changes too. Marini, did you want to say something before we transition?
Oh, no, I put it in the chat. It kind of mirrors what other folks have been saying.
I totally
okay?
put it in my notes. Yeah, I was like, we got to have this because it's important to kind of capture all of it. So,
yeah.
Wow, look at this, Kathleen. I only have 2 and 3 of my face-to-face classes compared to 25 and 19 online so far. Whew, oh my goodness. It's an interesting time. But it is what it is, right? So let's talk a little bit for just a few minutes about Teach for LA. So we had survey results come out from Teach for LA. It was really, really well received this time, everybody. The only complaint was the Monday where we maxed at 100 people. And that is something that will never happen again, because once that kind of thing happens, it'll never happen again. And so sorry about that, but we had really good attendance at everything, really good participation. Everybody wants us to run again. We distributed 107 certificates to the students that attended. I don't have a lot of negatives about it. We're going to run it again in spring. We were looking at that week of March 20th to 25th. The only thing about that, though, is, and I'm not saying we're doing it that whole week at this point. We went from having, it was really interesting, honestly. We went from having you know, the last Teach for LA that we did in spring, we had 37 workshops over 5 days. And then those of you that are new don't know this, but my 87-year-old mom got really, really sick this fall, and I had to take a month off of work. And it wasn't feasible to produce a 5-day conference with 38 workshops. It just wasn't. So our planning team scaled back to a 3-day workshop, or 3 days with 18 workshops. Here's what was crazy. On the 3-day model versus the 5-day model, we had more people attend every single workshop. So I thought that it would be like a detriment that we had less offerings, but then our numbers workshop by workshop increased. And I was watching the numbers for Teach for LA this time was so exciting. We'd pop into a session, there'd be like 94, 53, 72, 69, 82, like solid numbers. Even when we had a specialized section or a specialized workshop that was for faculty only, that had another session that conflicted with it, they still had 15 in it. And so it was really a pretty like successful conference. So we're looking at possibly doing it in a 3-day model again this spring. One of the interesting things too is this time we did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It was suggested that we maybe do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was also suggested that we look at a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I don't know if we're going to do a Sunday. I know a lot of people have that as a religious day, so I kind of struggle hosting on that day. But I'll bring it back to the team and see what everybody says. We also were given a long list of what they would like us to offer. If anybody who's on right now would like to be part of the planning team or would like to contribute to the type of workshops or whatnot, I think please know that we're totally open. Marini, oh my gosh. When your husband did Thursdays, I was worried, like, okay, we've got this bonus session. Let's see how it goes. I was literally on the thought, I was texting and they're like, Renee, we're at 59. Renee, we're at 60. I was like, no way. A bonus session to have 60 people on a Thursday afternoon? That was awesome. So
thanks for your flexibility with that. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so glad we were able to make that work. And I mean, you know, it's kind of funny because I feel like each Teach for LA, I do something like a little weird, like in spring, remember, like on the fly, I'm like, let's do a bonus thing and like we'll add a bonus workshop. We will keep it off the schedule. So only certain and they felt like they were part of the secretive kind of thing.
It went till like 8. We're all still on past 8 o'clock. I'm like, what is going on? I'm putting my kids to bed while still asking questions in the chat.
You know, it's a good thing. It's a good problem, right? Because the engagement, I think one of the things that's so fascinating is we know that engagement right now we're struggling with that. In this space, the engagement is high. I don't know how it happens, but people feel like they're part of something. Another thing too, any of you who are on my email list during Teach for LA, I'm so sorry because I'm like emailing throughout the day. What we found with the previous conferences is that the students want notification basically before every single session. They want the link sent to them. So one suggestion we had was to try and put it into a texting format. And so I don't know if that's something we're going to explore for spring or for fall, but we're going to keep looking at how do we make it better. So we will go ahead and share the date and everything with everybody once it's fully grounded. Probably won't be planning that till January. I'm just being totally honest. I feel like I just finished planning the last one. I love conferences, but anybody who's produced a conference can tell you, it's exhausting because when you're in conference, that's all you're doing. That's all you can't have life during those days. Not a problem again, but it's a lot. So I'm excited to do it again. We'll take the needs of what the students told us, and then in our January meeting, we'll do a larger brainstorm, make sure that we've got what really is needed for the workforce. So, and then with that, we have one more thing for today, and I just want to throw it out there. We did a survey at the beginning of the school year, and this day of the month was determined as the best day to meet. I think it is technically the second Friday from 9 to 11. We do have one faculty member on our team who this semester had to teach on Fridays. And I said to her, hey, do you want us to look at moving it for spring? And she said no, because normally Fridays are good for her. It was more like a fluke for her. So I wanted to check and see if we would like to keep this day and time, if it would be best for me to send out a doodle poll to everybody so that way we can have everybody who's part of the team chime in. I just wanted to make sure to just kind of touch base and see what everybody says. What do you think? Keep same day and time, put out a doodle poll. What sounds good to everybody? This
That
time is
works
good.
good.
This tends to work. Okay. Keep same. I now normally, like if we had moved to a different day of the week, I would say we'd have to reassess. I honestly think we could keep the same day and time if it's okay with everybody. Okay. Okay, everybody who's on right now says it's good. I can also do a poll as well. You know what? I can do a poll and I'll do the bulk of the times on Fridays. Okay, so I will do poll and then hopefully this one will end up being the right one. Okay, well, that's all I have for today. Oh my goodness, we are almost 20 minutes early. Is everybody okay if we end a little early today? Yeah, anything else going on? Anything you want to share or nothing before we wrap? We got a clap from Karen. She's like, oh, a clap from Liz. Okay, well, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. I know you're on final stretch right now. I just hope that you get to breathe a little bit during break. If there's anything I can do to help you or your program or your students, please let me know. I just had the honor of speaking at the Santa Monica Future Teachers Club last night. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So please let me know if I can ever be a resource. Everybody have a wonderful holiday, and I look forward to seeing you in 2022. Oh my goodness. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.